You want 1 or 2 eggs, Martin?
Go on, I'll have 3. Let's push the boat out. Thanks, love.
You don't mind taking them to church on your own? I'm sorry. I'll never get everything done if I don't go in.
For you, my darling, anything. Hey, you two. Careful where you're kicking that ball.
Shouldn't they be getting ready?
Oh, don't worry, love. All done. Thought it'd save time.
All done?
Great shot, Simon.
Oh, Martin, they're not doing that in their best shoes.
He's pretty good. Actually, Diane's not bad either. We'll have them both playing for England one day. Wycombe Wanderers at the least.
You two, put that away and come inside. But whatever's going around the school, they seem to have escaped. How are you feeling?
Bit of a sniffle. I'll take something. I should go in tomorrow. Half the South East team's out, even Malcolm.
Malcolm? I thought he never took a day off sick.
All the more commission for me. Anyway, you know what they say. Feed a cold.
Oh, that'll be Dan. Can you get it?
Of course, love. Hello, Dan the man.
Morning, Martin.
Want a coffee? Come on, Simon. Diane, you heard your mother.
Couple of centre forwards you've got there. Helen said you weren't feeling the best.
Might be starting with this flu. A lot of it about.
So I've heard. Did you say coffee? I'd love a cup.
No time for that. Look, get them changed before you go. Don't want Reverend Harwood to think we're raising a couple of scruffs.
Oh, that's me told. Right. Bye, darling.
See you later. Come on, Dan. I'll make you coffee at the office.
Bye then, Martin. Next time, eh? Whoa.
Careful, kids. In you go. Super Mum's made breakfast. Bye, Dan. Don't let her work you too hard.
I won't.
Sorry, Dan. I know it's a nerve getting you in at the weekend. You're a lifesaver.
I do what I can.
I promise I'll make you that coffee when we get there. Assuming Tina brought some in.
We can't all be as efficient as you. You should get a rise, Hells. You were running the place by the end of last week.
Tell that to Mr. Winters.
Don't worry, I will.
Trouble is, I've spent so much time doing everyone else's work, I've ended up with a pile of my own. Not to mention the payroll. Don't blame me if you don't get your wages on Friday.
No time to lose, then. I'm trying to line up some interviews myself. Might actually get hold of someone today.
Your hospital thing?
Yeah. I'm thinking we could make it a series. Run up to Christmas, overworked nurses, budget cuts, that kind of thing.
Well, this winter flu seems to be everywhere. Half Diana's class were off on Friday, and most of Martin's office.
Everywhere I've spoken to stretched already. Dread to think what it'll be like if it keeps up all the way to New Year.
Will you be around to lend me a hand tomorrow?
I'm on the road. Chasing down the hospital administrators, but nobody wants to go on record. Our local MP seems to have gone missing too. I tell you what, I'll try and get in for the afternoon.
Thanks. So, how did it go? Friday night?
Don't ask.
That well, eh?
Not really. I was stood up.
No. Do people really do that? No phone call? No apology?
Afraid so. Or maybe it's just me.
Oh, Dan. Maybe they were ill. I tell you what, give me their number. I'm just in the mood to read someone a riot act.
I don't think anyone deserves that.
Your call, madame?
Thanks. Brad? Bradley, can you hear me? Do you mind? Cover your mouth, please.
Honey, what do you want me to...
No, not you, Brad.
Are you sick?
No, it's something going around the hotel.
Maddie, listen, Mark's flight's been canceled. I don't know what's going on out there. Jeff and Tammy are saying the same thing.
Wait, slow down. Your mother can't get out of New York? Can't say I'm devastated, but Tammy too? What's going on there?
No idea. Get home and we'll find out. We're okay, hon?
Yeah, the merger's a done deal. The main guy was out sick, but he finally signed on Friday.
Great. So, you got time to be a tourist?
Yeah, I saw Buckingham Palace yesterday. I'm getting a cab to the airport now.
When do you land?
There's a Chicago connection. I'll be into St. Louis about 7 tonight. Can you pick me up, sweetie?
Sure, hon.
Thanks. And don't forget, I'm seeing the guy to go through the menus on Tuesday.
Thought that was the flower guy.
No, menus Tuesday, flowers Wednesday. You did pick up your suit, didn't you, Brad?
Miss Price, your taxi's here?
Gotta go, sweetie. See you tonight. Bye.
Bye.
Love you.
Your suitcase, madame?
Ms. Thanks, I'll take it myself. Hey. Hey, that's my cab!
Good morning. Good morning. Glad to see so many of you have managed to drag your ailing carcasses out of bed this fine winter morning. It's not as if it's anything important, only your whole academic future, that's all. Now, if you were paying attention last week, then you'll know I like to set a little end-of-term test before we break for Christmas, which is why I grant you the opportunity of these refresher lectures, to which I must say I thought there would be rather more takers. So let us see where to begin. Emile Durkheim, 1858 to 1917, one of the founding fathers of the modern social sciences. Sociology as an academic subject was virtually unknown before the end of the 19th century. It became Durkheim's ambition to establish a scientific discipline of social study, one which relied on firm methodological principles. Positivism, proof of concept, not simply philosophical speculation. Yes, thank you. France was in the process of rebuilding after falling to the might of Prussia. Broadly speaking, you had the Catholic conservatives on the one hand pushing for a return to traditional values, while on the other, the radicals were all for revolutionary reforms. And Durkheim is usually numbered among the conservatives. He saw law and religion as playing a vital role in civilizing society. Without these norms to constrain their behavior, he wrote, humans develop insatiable appetites, limitless desires, and general feelings of irritation and dissatisfaction. In short, the human animal, left to its own devices, is anti-social. Yes, I said thank you, Mr. Lewis, you're here now, no need for the theatrics. As I was saying, without the constraints of society, human instinct leads us to be self-centered, greedy, insatiable, and competitive. Durkheim called this anomie. The term can be understood to mean without law, but Emile uses it in the sense of a lack of a secure framework, one within which people feel a sense of moral regulation and social integration. Not so much rules of state, but rather a social consensus which creates an organic solidarity.
We regret to announce that Parisian Airways Flight 305 to Charles de Gaulle has been cancelled. We ask all passengers to please be patient. Remain in the terminal and we will inform you as soon as a replacement flight has been scheduled. We apologize for the continuing delays to our transatlantic departures. Will passengers please remain in the terminal building for further information updates?
Hey! Hey! Transglobal Flight 915 to Chicago. Any news?
Do you mind? We were here first.
Since last night? I don't think you were.
Sorry, madam. We're still waiting to hear.
You were happy enough to check my luggage yesterday evening. I could do with a change of clothes. Now, how about getting me another flight? It's not so busy. I'll take anything that gets me back to the States.
We're all in the same boat. Wait your turn.
If only we were in a boat, I'd have gotten there faster. Can you place a call for me? I need to get a hold of my fiancé, St. Louis, Missouri.
I'm sorry, madam. The international lines are all unavailable.
Still? Okay, then. Can I call my London office? I got the number right here.
I'm really very sorry. The local exchanges are down too. If you'd like to retake your seat over in the lounge, we'll let you know just as soon as we...
Unbelievable! What kind of cockamamie country are you running here?
It's one of the oldest in the world, madam. Could you fetch Chief Williams, please? Tell him John Redgrave is here to see him. He is expecting me.
I'm sorry, sir. Mr. Williams is unavailable at present.
Redgrave, Department of Health and Social Security. Please, tell him I've been here for nearly an hour.
1 hour, try 16.
Here, my credentials.
Of course. 1 minute, Mr. Redgrave. I'll go and find him.
Special treatment, huh?
It is a very testing time for all the airport staff. I'd ask that you remain calm. Please allow those in authority to do their jobs.
Passengers are reminded for their own safety. Once you pass through security, please remain within your assigned departure lounge.
I don't see much of anything going on. They're herding people into the terminal, but not so keen to actually send them anywhere.
Mr. Redgrave, if you'd like to come with me.
Certainly. Please be patient, miss.
But hey! Hey, what about us? What are we, freight cattle? Hello? Is anybody listening? Do you mind not coughing in my direction? God. Excuse me.
Martin? Martin? Oh no. The connection's gone again.
So, it's true. You have taken this place over.
No sign of Mr. Winters. Someone's got to make sure we don't end up printing nothing but holiday ads. I thought I might as well use his office.
Oh, the chair suits you. Sorry to bother you. Spare batteries for my tape recorder? I asked Tina.
Left-hand cabinet, third drawer down.
I tried calling to let you know.
The lines keep dropping. Too few operators at the exchanges, apparently.
Aha. The same story at the hospital. I got a nurse at Wickham General to agree to see me this evening. Off the record. That's why I don't want this thing running down. This thing's going national. International, maybe. Did you hear the news? Is anyone else on it?
I'm trying to get through to Newsgroup's office. I think it should be our lead. Local effects of a nationwide problem. Let's personalise it. Old ladies in hospital corridors. Take a camera, see if any of them will give you a picture. Use your charm. Dan, what is it?
The thing is, I think it could get bigger.
How do you mean?
They're saying there've been some fatalities.
Well, that's not unusual for winter flu. The elderly, people with heart trouble, breathing problems.
No, from what I've heard, these are young people, healthy people.
How many?
Quite a few. I'm trying to get it confirmed, but it's difficult pinning anyone down.
I'll need it first thing tomorrow if we want to run it. I'll definitely keep trying head office, see if they've heard from Winters.
Helen, how's Martin?
Dosed up with paracetamol. Home with the kids.
They're not in school?
They both came down with a temperature after church. Tina says the school's closed anyway. They turned her Debbie away. Not enough staff.
What about you?
I'm fine. Honestly.
Why don't you go home? Check up on them.
Don't worry. We'll all be fine. Go on. Give Tina a hand with the layouts.
No problem. Listen, Hells, I could swing by your house on the way to my interview.
Layouts. Tina. Go on before she puts the horoscopes on the front page.
Okay. If you're sure.
I was wondering, can I get through to the check-in desk and collect my luggage? I've been wearing the same clothes since yesterday.
They want everyone to stay in the lounge, miss.
Ms. These doors are locked. What's that?
Miss.
What? Chains? With padlocks? Is that even legal?
Please, don't do that.
Hey, don't touch me. Wait. Have you got a gun?
Step back from the doors, please.
What are we, prisoners?
Quarantine, miss. Emergency orders.
Quarantine? Is this anything to do with that government guy turning up this morning? No comment, huh? Well, I thought you British policemen didn't carry guns.
It's for everyone's safety, miss.
Safety, huh? I guess I'll go back to my VIP couch. And it's Ms.
Welcome, welcome. A rather more intimate gathering today, which is probably fortunate given the enforced change in venue. Now, the one good thing about us all being in my office is that I can make everyone a cup of tea. I may even have enough mugs to go round. Ah, the power's out here too, so it's not just the lecture hall. I suppose then, shall we get started? Now, we covered Emile Durkheim yesterday. Today we turn to one of his German contemporaries, Max Weber. As you'll all know from your extensive reading, while Durkheim's thinking is often viewed as a reaction to some of the established Marxist ideas, Weber's theories go even further. Excuse me. Ah, come in, Mr. Lewis. Better late than never. I think we can squeeze you in. Where is Miss Dawson today?
I'm not coming in. I thought you should know, sir.
Oh, what's the excuse then? I expected of you, Mr. Lewis, but it's not at all like...
She's dead. I couldn't wake her. Charlotte died to Dr. Gillison last night.
Oh. I'm so terribly sorry. Thank you. Thank you for informing me.
They're saying everyone should check in with their families.
Of course. At times such as these, it's important that we, families. I suggest we all go home to our families. See your parents, make sure they, when something like this happens, we come to realize what really matters. Go on, all of you. Class is dismissed.
Would you like a roll, dear? Frightfully glad we stocked up. Now they've run out.
No, thank you.
My husband's lost his appetite, too. Our niece is in Chamonix, invites us skiing every Christmas. We were delayed last year as well. Strike.
Chamonix, how nice.
Well, that's France, you know. A bit of mountain air will make us all feel better. Do you think it'll be much longer?
I hope not.
They said to wait. They'll tell us when the plane's ready. Odd, though. You normally see them going past on the tarmac.
That's it. I've had enough. I've been here 36 hours with no information at all since last night. What's going on? You can hide, but I'm an attorney, and you do not want to get on the wrong side of the United States.
Please, calm down. Our ground staff are doing the best they can in extraordinarily trying circumstances.
You, Mr.
Redgrave, John Redgrave. I'd politely request that you lower your voice. Please, Miss?
Ms. Price, Maddie Price.
I do understand your frustration.
Oh, do you? Do you even know that the food's run out? I mean, if this is the VIP lounge, I hate to think what's going on in Coach.
Please, Miss Price, return to the seating area. I'll see to it the soft drink trolleys are replenished shortly.
Mr. Redgrave, I am not moving 1 inch from this desk. If you people do not start explaining yourselves, I'll be handing out my business card to every passenger in this lounge, along with a no-win, no-fee guarantee, false imprisonment, class action against the British government, kind of thing that makes a career.
Miss Price, there really is no need for such drastic measures.
What do you suggest? I'm getting married next week, so I got 1 or 2 things I need to get back and work out.
I'm sorry that you are being inconvenienced. Rest assured, we are making every effort to ensure passenger safety.
Yeah, let me get this straight. You're ensuring passenger safety by locking us up under threat of being shot.
Miss Price, you are being deliberately obtuse. It's only right that certain precautions are put in place.
Hey, what's the matter?
Please, keep away. I'm asking you to stay clear of this area. Everybody stay back, miss.
It's all right, officer. She's with me.
Sorry, Mr. Redgrave. They're dead. This whole family. They're not breathing, not moving.
What the...
Officer, have the body put with the others. Could everyone please move to the other side of the lounge. Don't be alarmed. The situation is under control.
Others? What the hell's going on?
Miss Price, you're a lawyer, aren't you?
An attorney, company law, but I know enough about civil rights. If we've been placed in danger, I'll be doing a whole lot more than giving out my card. How about I get everyone together and we all stop being so very British? Stop doing as we're told. Your name's at the top of the writ, John Redgrave.
Then please allow me to plead my case. Follow me.
Hello.
Daniel.
Helen, what are you doing here? You look awful.
Thanks.
You know what I mean. It's happening everywhere. Businesses grinding to a halt. No one expects you to keep running the place single-handed.
Dan, you were right. I spoke to Sir Rodney at Newsgroup.
You got through to Sir Rodney?
He got through to me, actually. Late yesterday afternoon. He said to spike your story. He doesn't want his newspaper group to be responsible for fanning the flames of panic.
Someone should tell him. People can already see something's gone wrong. The hospital simply can't cope with so many people falling ill at once.
I know. He's up there in his ivory tower, but the news will filter through eventually.
I just passed the bus station. The queues were out along the street. And you should see the lines at the garages. Everyone's stocking up in case the pump attendants call in sick.
And the tanker drivers. It's a small mercy Martin's not on the road.
It's not just petrol. They were out of bread at my corner shop. No idea when they get more in. Garages, corner shops, supermarkets. They all need people to deliver. All this modern convenience. We forget we still need human beings to turn the wheels.
Like the schools. Not enough teachers. Parents have to stay at home whether they're ill or not.
It's a domino effect. I told you this feature had legs. School closures. What I need is someone from the council... Oh, sorry, Hells. How are the kids?
They still had a fever this morning. Oh, don't worry. They're strong. Besides, we've a medicine cabinet full of pills. I'm surprised you can't hear me rattling.
Hells, maybe you should be home as well. You really don't look all that great.
Thanks. Again. Give it a couple of days. I expect we'll all be through the worst.
Why didn't you stay with them?
This is important, Dan. You know it, I know it. We have to tell people, especially if the powers that be are trying to cover up their own incompetence.
Helen! You're burning up. No, I'm taking you home.
Daniel, it's me who tells people what to do, not the other way round.
Not this time. Here, I've got you. Where's your bag?
Here. But Dad...
Come on. It's not like there's anyone else here you're letting down. The paper can wait. Let's get you home.
Gotta tell ya, I am not used to being marched at gunpoint.
Clive, you can go and help Wallace with the removal.
Yes, sir.
Miss Price, I'd much rather you were with me than spreading panic among the passengers.
Panic? I saw what just happened. Maybe they're right to panic.
I'm in the process of assessing the situation. Then I can work out the appropriate steps.
You don't know what you're doing, do you?
I need to speak with the relevant people at the Department of Health.
Haven't you heard? Phones are down. How exactly are you going to do that?
Someone will be along to take charge of the situation shortly.
The way I see it, nobody's in charge right now. And if they don't get here before I
this
have to
way,
be back
please,
and get
Miss
married,
Price, please, I'll explain.
Where are we going? What's through here?
Terminal security. I've taken an office just along the corridor.
Where are the people? Customs, baggage handlers?
I don't want unnecessary alarm. As well as everything else, I'd rather we didn't have mass hysteria on our hands.
You've got dead bodies in the VIP lounge. I'd say it's a little late for that.
Miss Price, we're here. This is my office. Please, come in.
Hells? Helen? Wait here. You're in no fit state to be walking anywhere. I'll see if Martin can give me a hand.
What are you saying, Dan? Was I asleep? Where are
Your house, Hells. It took a little longer than I thought to get here. Well, a lot longer.
Dan, my head is pounding.
Don't worry. I'm fetching Martin. Where's your key?
In my bag.
I'll be right back. Hello? Anyone home? Martin? Simon?
Emile? Where are you?
Oh my God, is he dead?
Not quite. Chief Williams, head of security. He has a fever. Last time he woke, he was rather delirious. I've given him some medication, but it doesn't seem to have had any effect. Nothing seems to have any effect.
This sickness, it's everywhere?
You were right, Miss Price. I don't know what to do.
Well, I need to get home. I need to get home right
now. You
now.
may not have realised, but there have been no transatlantic aircraft in or out of Britain for just under 48 hours now. European flights stopped completely early yesterday morning.
But St. Louis, I need to get home to St. Louis. Chicago, anywhere. It
I'm
doesn't
afraid
matter to me.
We're no more capable of air travel today than our great-grandparents were a century ago. The entire system has ground to a halt. Any intercontinental journey is at present a fantastical dream. From what I gather, the United States has it even worse. New York was into its second day of blackout.
What?
My being sent here was a precaution. I was asked to lock down and quarantine the terminal to try to contain any possible spread of this influenza.
You knew?
We weren't prepared for this. It's rather more serious than I'd been led to believe.
Hold on. Quarantine? What's the point of a quarantine if the illness is already out there?
We didn't know that for sure. It's been difficult to pin down the source, the spread of the infection. Early symptoms are very much like those of the regular seasonal flu viruses.
You mean you didn't even know it was out there till it was way too late?
Some of our people were suggesting it might be a mutated strain. Obviously, I don't know what the latest opinion is on that. It was thought the best course of action was to isolate the ports and prevent any further influx.
Like I said, too late. He's on fire. Can't we do anything for him?
I've been giving him aspirin since yesterday. There's a flannel and cold water in the bowl on the desk. If you really want to do something, Miss Price, you could mop the poor man's brow.
Daniel? Daniel!
No, Helen! Stay there! You mustn't try to move.
What is it, Dan? What's happened?
Get back in the car. Oh, God. Helen, I'm sorry.
Can I go inside?
No. We need to get you to the hospital. Now.
Where's Martin? Dan, talk to me. Where's Martin? Where are my children?
I flew in from Brussels last week. I was among several people on the flight taken ill. I had a fever for 2 days, but recovered. My secretary did not.
Those people in the offices, the hotel, the terminal, coughing and sneezing. And...
If it's been transmitted via the usual means, there's every chance you've been exposed. Everyone in the terminal has. I don't know whether it's a more powerful strain that's come in from abroad, or if it's just that certain people are more vulnerable than others.
You don't know much.
That is painfully true, I'm afraid, Miss Price.
Sorry, go on.
Well, we assumed an incubation period of 5 to 7 days, followed by a fever lasting anything upwards of 24 hours. Beyond that, well, we're only starting to see that now.
You're forcing the stopper back on the bottle after the genie got out? What good's it going to do to keep people here?
This way we're seen to be doing something. My colleagues were sent to Gatwick, Dover. I was supposed to liaise with Mr. Hedges and Mr. Lawton at the other terminals, but communications appear to have broken down.
I need to call Brad, my fiancé. Does the phone in this office have
Possible.
any...
I'm afraid I can't even reach the next terminal. I was instructed to quarantine this one, you see. We have the population at large to consider.
How many people go through this airport every day? Thousands? Tens of thousands? I mean, it's not so busy now, but if this thing started spreading last week...
The government will be taking action. Medical centres, emergency provision. In a week or two, when the outbreak has passed its peak, things will start returning to normal. A few more months, and you and your family can celebrate your nuptials. Just a little later than planned. I'm sure the wedding cake will keep.
Why don't the phones work? Why can't you actually find anything out?
At present, we've no way of knowing how far or how wide this has spread. My intention is to sit tight and await instructions. Although now it seems... I think you can stop tending to Chief Williams, Miss Price. He stopped breathing a little while ago.
Martin? What's happening?
No, Hells. It's Daniel. We're going to hospital. Trying to, anyway.
Hospital? Where are we? It's dark.
Traffic's stopped. They're queuing up the hill. It's taken us nearly an hour to cover the last half a mile. Another empty one. I'll have to go round.
Empty?
People getting out and walking. Although, I haven't seen anyone pass for a while now.
Have I been asleep?
Drifting. In and out. I'd say we walked too, but it's another 1.5 miles. I don't think you're up to it.
It's so dark. What time is it?
Gone 7. I can't get anything on the radio.
I'm so tired. My head, my throat, everything hurts. I can feel lumps under my arms.
Here, take some more of these.
My house. I remember. We were in the driveway. Dan, where's Martin?
Here, a bit of tea to wash them down. If I'd thought, I could have filled it from the tap back...
Oh! Dan?
What the...
What is it? What's happening?
Oh, God! The streetlights, they've gone out. Power cut. Right across town.
What are we going to do?
It's ridiculous! We're less than 10 miles from home, and I can't do a thing to help!
Martin! Don't leave me! Please!
Helen. Martin's not here. It's Daniel. Your friend, Dan.
Where are the children?
They're sleeping. Helen, get some rest. I've a torch and blankets in the boot. I won't leave you. Don't worry. Whatever happens, I won't leave you.
Mr. Stevens? Mr. Stevens, it's only me, Fiona. Sorry to disturb you. You wanted to know... There's more sick with it now. 5 of them, lying on their sides. Breathing all funny. 8 more with their udders all red and swollen. It's like you said, if we don't get the milk out, it makes them poorly. I done my best. I tried, I really did, but I just can't do it on my own. It's spreading from one to another. Mr. Stevens? I'll get you some water. Oh, that's another thing. Horrible brown colour it is. Still, boil it, reckon it'll be all right. Mr. Stevens? No one's coming to help us, are they? Here, Ted, come here. Come to Fiona. Leave your dad alone. He's not up to seeing you now. I'll have to do. Not seen Miss Tabby in days. She's usually first at the gate come milking time. Maybe she don't like hearing him sick either. I've decided, Mr. Stevens, for myself. I mean, Brian, Terry, Sue and all the others. They haven't been around since last week, and I ain't seen another living soul since Monday. It's boiling. I'll fill up your mug. I've put it down here. Leave it a good while to cool, won't you? Do you hear me, Mr. Stevens? So, what I decided was I should try down at the village, find someone to help. Phones aren't working. I reckon I'll have a drive around, look for Dr. Wadham. So, I'm going to take the keys for the Land Rover. Sorry, Mr. Stevens. I'll be back as soon as I can. I'm sorry. I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't know what's wrong with you either. Come on, Ted. Let's have a ride down the lane.
There were more than a dozen dead overnight. We've made the sick as comfortable as we can.
I'm sure it won't be much longer.
Face it, no one's coming. Best thing we can do for these people is just let them go home.
Clive, the security man, he managed to get the diesel generators back on. At least we'll have heat and light for tonight.
Tonight? What? You're not keeping everyone locked up in here for another night.
I have my instructions. If I were to let them go, and if it were to contribute to...
If? We're way beyond if now, Mr. Redgrave. Look at them. The only reason they're not riding is because they're all too sick to move.
Miss Price?
What do you know? I don't feel too great myself. Look, in case you hadn't noticed, we're not passengers anymore. We're patients with no doctors.
That's why we should wait. The military will have been mobilized. In circumstances such as these, martial law would be declared.
So why haven't they paid us a house call? Things ain't going to plan. I've been trying to organize a wedding, John. Believe me, things never do.
That's all there is. The same message, over and over. Since 8 this morning. I can't find anything else. Oh, great. Shouldn't have left it running.
You kept us warm. You did your best. For me.
And the battery's dead. Oh!
Emile, stop. Please, just stop.
Sorry. How are you feeling? You slept a bit.
Where are my family? Tell me, Dan. I don't want to go. Not without knowing.
Go? Helen, you're not going anywhere.
Dan, please. Tell me.
We are so close. There'll be medicine, doctors. That's what you need. Half a mile, that's all.
Talk to me, please.
Hello in there? You awake? Oh, God. This one's empty. Looks like you're still stuck with just me. Right. Let's get you comfortable. Shan't be long.
Dad, don't leave me.
Hells, I've got no choice. I know, I'll get a wheelchair. Have you riding up there in style.
Dad.
Be back before you know it.
Dad.
We just lost Mr. and Mrs. Cavanaugh. Clive's got the fever.
Less than 30 left out of what? 150?
I've been staring out that window all afternoon.
Just keeping a lookout. What is it they say about a watched pot? Now, the food and water situation.
John, what is it?
Miss Price, when I did my rounds first thing, I saw someone out there, driving across the runways.
And you didn't think to let me know?
They were in unmarked Land Rovers. Several armed passengers, shotguns, no uniforms. They didn't appear in any way official.
Even so, you should have told me, for God's sakes, at least...
What's that? A plane?
It is! A plane! Wait, a fantastical dream, huh? They're coming to help!
No, no!
Wait, they missed the runway.
It wasn't heading for the runway. I don't think they'd any say in where they were heading.
What do you mean it's gonna...
Stay here, Miss Price.
But we need to get out there, do something!
No, stay here! Everybody, get away from the windows!
John, I want it!
It was leaking fuel!
Come on. Not far now.
Diane? Simon?
Is anyone there? Helen, I'm not leaving you. I'm just going to see if I can find someone. I'll just be along the corridor. I won't go far. You rest. I'll be right back.
Thank you for trying.
Hello? Is someone there?
Keep away!
Are you a nurse? Have you seen any doctors?
Stay away from me. You can't stop me. I need these pills. You can't stop me taking them.
Please! Come back! I wasn't going to... Oh, what are they? Antibiotics? Painkillers? Here. In here.
It's better through there. The heating's working and there's no damage.
Good, thank you, Miss Price. Those who are able should move on through to the bar area.
What about the ones by the window?
There was nothing we could do. We're not an emergency department. The first aid kits were only good for cuts and bruises.
Hey, out there, the people on the plane.
Do you really think anyone survived? We're safer inside. Don't you agree?
Who were they? Where did they come from?
It was small, a private carrier, perhaps. We're unlikely to ever find
But
out.
why did it crash?
I can't be certain, but the fuel leak, I think it may have been attacked.
But you don't mean that... Oh, come on. We should go check.
Not while men with guns are roaming the area. We were lucky we weren't spotted. I located some more medication from the chemist's storerooms.
But we can't just get... Oh, my.
Oh, no. Sit down, Miss Price. I'll fetch some soda water from the bar, then I'll help you through. Take these for the pain and fever.
Thanks. Here.
No, keep the bottle. You may as well take this one, too. After all, there are so few of us left.
I got everything else. As much as I could carry. I think this is a stock list. We can work out what they all are and then see if anything on here tells us which are the best ones to... Helen? I don't know what else to do. Water. You'll need water, too, when you wake up. I'll get some. Later. I couldn't wake them up. Martin and Diane were on the sofa, huddled under a blanket. They weren't breathing. I couldn't wake them up. They looked so scared, clinging together like it might just keep them alive. I found Simon upstairs, in his bunk bed, all alone. I guess he must have been the first. Oh, Helen. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't. Helen? Hells? No. Please, God, no. Please? Is anyone there? Can anybody help me?
It's ready, I think.
You think?
Shortwave only. Gives the best range.
How far?
Don't know, a couple of miles? Maybe more? But do we want to waste power trying to get...
It's a question of allocating resources to the best ends possible. Thank you, Lewis. You've done well.
Thanks, Dr. Gillis.
See what you can find in Nurse's office.
Yes, sir.
Get some rest.
Thank you, sir.
This is Dr. James Gillison. Can anybody hear me?
Miss Price! Wait! Please! Where are you going?
The wreck burned itself out. There's nobody out there. Been quiet all night. Well, I can still walk. I'm going to take a look at the other terminal.
Miss Price, I don't... Where did you get those keys?
Your guards are all gone, John. Amazing how fast you get used to searching dead bodies. There. I'm going.
I forbid you to step through those doors.
Forbid? On whose authority? I am a United States citizen. We stopped taking any notice of you telling us what to do 200 years ago.
Miss Price.
My God. 200 years ago, I wouldn't even be here. Now I have no way of getting back. Brad, he'll never manage without me. I don't even know if he's still... We made the world so much smaller. Thought we were so clever. Nobody ever thought what had happened if it suddenly got big again.
Come back to the lounge, please. Don't go out there.
Oh, John. Are you really going to try to stop me?
If you go through those doors, I'm not sure I can allow you back inside.
Don't be ridiculous, John. I'm sick. Everybody's sick. Everybody except you, and you already had it. There's nothing your quarantine can achieve now.
Miss Price, come back.
I'm actually going to do something. It feels good. You should try it sometime.
If I thought there were anything to be done, Miss Price, I would.
Stay there, Teddy. You need to stay in the Land Rover. Now stay. I'm sorry, I can't help them anymore. This is the only thing I can do. Mr. Stevens, your poor dad, he died last night. Everyone else down in the village, dead or gone. I don't know. I'm on my own. All on my own. I just can't do it on my own. I can't take care of you all. You're all suffering. You're all dying. This way's easier. I'm sorry, but I can't do anything else. And when I'm done, I'll find someone. There's got to be someone. Someone in the city. Now you stay over there, Ted. I've got to do this.
Hello? Can anyone hear me? There you are. Miss Price! Please, wait!
Look who cowboyed up.
Oh, what?
You followed me.
There was little else to do. What have you found?
Nothing.
I'm sorry. Perhaps it's best if I get you back inside.
Everyone's gone, John.
Everyone?
Everyone. Apart from the ones who didn't make it. They're starting... I couldn't stand the smell.
Oh.
Yeah. I did find these, though. Keys. Dozens of them. Labeled with all the codes. Schematics, too. Floor plans for the whole airport. In Central Security, I matched some of them up with the codes. Look, I think you can get into the control tower.
I really don't think we should.
There must be a way of making contact. Get radio transmitters, calling the States.
I don't believe it works that way.
I want to try it.
Miss Price, please, you're sick. Come back inside the bar. I'll make you comfortable.
I am sick of that terminal. There's got to be a way. In the tower, we can send an SOS.
Tomorrow,
we can
let's
find
try
a way.
tomorrow. I need to do another round of the lounges. I've no one left to move the bodies.
John, I may not have it tomorrow.
I shouldn't leave the terminal. Instructions were to keep the people inside the terminal.
You just said it yourself. There's only you and me left who can still walk. And I feel lousy.
Oh, Miss Price.
Maddie, please. While I've got the strength, let's try it. Go up the tower. What have we got to lose? If nothing else, we'll have a great view. See if there's anything out there. Anything at all.
Only appropriate personnel have permission to enter the tower. I don't have the authority to...
I won't tell. 9 floors. What are my chances? Come on, John. Live dangerously. Might be our only hope.
But wait. Wait. Miss Price.
There. You're home. I've brought you back. To them. I'm sorry, Els. I didn't know what else to do. Transistor radio. Batteries. That's the only power we've got left now. I suppose there is something I can do. Record this. Report the story. One day, someone will want to know. There must be somebody left. Somewhere in this world. People who'll want to know. Good night, Els. Sleep tight.
What happened?
It was too much, Miss Price. You fainted after all those stairs.
I never faint.
A pity. I'm not sure it was worth the effort after all. There must be a backup generator. That's why the lights are still on. And I think this is a public address system.
Are those printers? Telex machines, telegraphs? Can we get a...
No longer active, I'm afraid. Besides, I don't have a number for anyone. Do you?
No, I don't think so.
What hath God wrought?
Excuse me?
A quotation from the Book of Numbers. 4 words sent over 100 years ago by Samuel Morse. What hath God wrought? The first message ever relayed by means of telegraph. I was just thinking they'd be rather appropriate as the last.
What are those printouts?
Telegraphs, telexes, transcripts of radio messages. The last panicked cries as they realized Civil Aviation Authority stations across the country were sending them here. Hampshire, Ireland, monitoring incoming and outgoing flights up until several days ago anyway. Status reports, maydays.
What do they say?
I don't think they're of any help to us.
That one. In your hand, read it.
It's a summary of an SOS picked up by the Air Traffic Service at Prestwick, Scotland, covering the North Atlantic. They sent it on via telex. It looks like the people here had started recording these incidents, collating them. This was one of the last before... Here, Miss Price, you can see for yourself.
John, I can't focus. Please, read it.
Flight Tango Golf 651, Transglobal, en route from Washington. It's a little garbled. None of the usual protocols. From the first stewardess, both pilots are incapacitated, she says. Over half the passengers suffering from fever, 18 unconscious, 4 fatalities. Half an hour later, there was one final message. The co-pilot regained consciousness. He reported that they were ditching the aircraft less than 100 miles off the coast to avoid contamination, to avoid civilian casualties. He thought they might come down on a population centre. There were 152 souls on board when they went into the sea.
Oh no. It hurts. Oh, under my arms.
Miss Price.
Maddie, please. If it's the end of the world, John, I think we can lose the formalities.
Miss Price? Maddie? Here, let me... The end of the world. You're right, Miss Price. I think it's time these people knew the truth. That is, if there's anybody left to listen. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention?
My name is John Redgrave. I am speaking on behalf of the British government. I have an important announcement to make.
Can anybody hear me? This is Dr. James Gillison. I am the senior lecturer in sociology at the Feltham Polytechnic. I am currently located in a first-floor laboratory in the science block in the south building of the campus, room 322. We have some limited supplies. A diesel-powered generator, heating, light. If anyone can hear me, please bring help. If you've medical skills, if you've knowledge of engineering, electrics, and plumbing in particular, I would like to pool resources. We have had the sickness here, so please, you should only come if you've already been exposed and proven immune. If not, I am afraid you may be best served elsewhere. I repeat, can anybody hear me?
This is Daniel Connor, real number 1. I'm starting to feel the fever coming on. I've taken paracetamol, aspirin. I don't know how far I'll get before...
Real number 1. My name is Daniel Connor, and this is my story.
Hello, I'm David Richardson. I'm the producer of Survivors.
I'm Matt Fitton. I'm the author of Survivors, Episode 1, Revelation, and the script editor for the series.
European flight stopped completely early yesterday morning.
But St. Louis, I need to get home to St. Louis. Chicago, anywhere. It doesn't matter to me.
We're no more capable of air travel today than our great-grandparents were a century ago. The entire system has ground to a halt. Any intercontinental journey is at present a fantastical dream. From what I gather, the United States has it even worse.
Survivors at Big Finish. It's a series that I've always wanted to do on audio, and I think I raised the idea about a year and a half ago. It was around the time, actually, we were working with Lucy Fleming on a series called Countermeasures, which is a Doctor Who spin-off, and it was such a joy working with Lucy. She was absolutely smashing, and I just thought it would be fantastic to be able to work with her on Survivors, which was a show we'd all seen her in and loved. We negotiated the rights with Terry Nation's agent, and it all came to pass, and then we came round to planning the first series. Matt, how did we do that?
Well, we got together the group of writers for the series, so myself, Jonathan Morris, Andrew Smith and John Dorney, and met up and sort of planned out this series arc, which would basically run in parallel with the first series of the TV programme. So what we very much wanted to do was go back to the beginning and look at the outbreak of the death, follow the story of some characters of our own invention, through whose perspective we would see this global epidemic, end of the world scenario play out.
At times such as these, it's important that we, families, I suggest we all go home to our families, see your parents, make sure they, when something like this happens, we come to realise what really matters. Go on, all of you. Class is dismissed.
David actually had produced a series plan with our original characters in place, and we have Daniel Connor, Jackie Birchall, James Gillison and Maddie Price, along with John Redgrave, Helen Wiseman, etc. So what we wanted to do was show the outbreak from a different perspective from that we saw on the television programme. Obviously they were restricted by budgets and locations as to what could be presented on television, and we got this picture of a rural setting for much of the TV series. So what I wanted to do with the audio was sort of go into the cities, go into the more civilised areas and pick up locations that you wouldn't necessarily have been able to produce to show on TV as effectively. So I focused in on looking at Heathrow Airport, taking the airport scenario where we had our international passenger, and we could bring in some of the perspective of how the outbreak affects the global picture.
It's rather more serious than I'd been led to believe.
Hold on. Quarantine? What's the point of a quarantine if the illness is already out there?
We didn't know that for sure. It's been difficult to pin down the source, the spread of the infection. Early symptoms are very much like those of the regular seasonal flu viruses.
You mean you didn't even know it was out there till it was way too late?
Also, we have the urban setting with Daniel and Helen as these sort of provincial local newspaper workers who start to pick up on the story of the outbreak as it occurs.
Hello?
Daniel!
Helen, what are you doing here? You look awful.
Thanks.
You know what I mean. It's happening everywhere. Businesses grinding to a halt. No one expects you to keep running the place single-handed.
Also in the Polytechnic setting, sort of on the edge of London, James Gillison and his story picking up as the students start to fall ill, and him at the beginning of setting up this new community.
We have had the sickness here, so please, you should only come if you've already been exposed and proven immune. If not, I am afraid you may be best served elsewhere.
Hello, I'm Ken Bentley. and I've directed Survivors. I'm always a big fan of contrast, and I'm sure I've probably talked about that in other interviews in the past. Within a scene and within a story, contrast is always good. The thing that struck me the most about working on Survivors is just how much it contrasts what we normally do. It's a completely different, not only a completely different storytelling world, but it's presented in a completely different style. Nothing we do it has the gentle pace that Survivors has. And nothing we do is as straight as this either, although it's considered to be a science fiction series, but it's very un-sci-fi for a sci-fi series.
This is important, Dan. You know it, I know it. We have to tell people, especially if the powers that be are trying to cover up their own incompetence.
Helen! You're burning up! No, I'm taking you home.
Daniel, it's me who tells people what to do, not the other way round.
Not this time. Here, I've got you. Where's your bag?
Here. But Dad...
Come on. It's not like there's anyone else here you're letting down. The paper can wait. Let's get you home.
Very nice, thank you. That works a treat. Could I just get a little wild track cough as you walk off down the corridor, Caroline?
Yes.
That'd be all right. It's very dark compared to everything we do. It's darkness is probably what sets it apart most from anything else we do. Some of the situations we're throwing at one or two characters in this series are very adult, very dark themes. In many ways, it's the stuff of drama. It's the stuff actors love, and it's the stuff writers love to write, actors love to act, and directors love to work with actors on in the studio, because you can really get your teeth into it and try a few things that, particularly doing what we do most of the time, which is, for want of a better way of saying it, much lighter. It's a lovely opportunity to come in and do something that's the opposite of that, but also the good thing about it is this isn't soap opera. It's not as if we're going from the sort of lightness and fun of the majority of sci-fi we do at Big Finish into something that's soap. It's much darker than that, and it's got much more, I think, truth than that. This isn't melodrama.
You're all suffering. You're all dying. This way's easier. I'm sorry, but I can't do anything else. When I'm done, I'll find someone. There's got to be someone. Someone in the city.
What sort of research did you do into global pandemics?
The Survivors episode guide was very valuable in setting out the vision behind it, Terry Nation's vision behind it. There are all sorts of resources on the web now, especially in the light of things like avian flu and SARS and so on. Just even today, to look at what disastrous projections could be made if a disease broke out which was actually transmissible person to person in the same way that coughs and colds are. The speed with which it would spread is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it spreads at the rate at which people can travel around the world. So when you look at something like the plague in the 16th century, the Black Death and so on, of course that was spread very slowly through the world because of the means of transport. But as soon as you're into sort of the 20th century and the age of the jumbo jet, suddenly that virus is worldwide in a matter of days.
How many people go through this airport every day? Thousands? Tens of thousands? I mean, it's not so busy now, but if this thing started spreading last week...
The government will be taking action. Medical centres, emergency provision. In a week or two, when the outbreak has passed its peak, things will start returning to normal. A few more months, and you and your family can celebrate your nuptials. Just a little later than planned.
And what sort of frame of mind did you get in when you were writing this?
Well, I don't know if it's psychosomatic, but I did start to feel I had coughs and colds and so on all the way through. But this is one of the most difficult things I think that I've written. It's quite a grim worldview. You're trying to show ordinary people how ordinary people would cope in absolutely extraordinary situations, and I mean, there's no two ways about it. The death toll is high, and you have to reflect that in characters losing family members, losing friends, and it is quite a depressing thing to think about. But then I think what really inspired me is making these people as real as possible. I think if these people with these character traits as they exist in the normal everyday life. How do